As a hockey player, I would say Terry was very smart and read the ice well. And he, like you said, he was always a thinker and did well. And that was his biggest attribute, his smarts.
He could shoot the puck. He scored some goals, but he fought a fair bit, like I said, and he was good at it. I don't think I ever seen Terry lose a fight in hockey, ever. He was a tough guy. He was really competitive. I always thought the greatest asset in his sports career was his intelligence. He was a very intelligent athlete.
In the early mid-'80s, I believe, we played against each other in the Turon District Hockey League. It was a pretty good league for intermediate hockey, and this was, dare I say, real hockey in the day. A lot of it is gentlemen's hockey now. This was full contact hockey. A lot of good hockey players. The Bible Hill team had Steve Morrissey, Jimmy Cummings, Craig Cameron, guys who'd won Metro Valley scoring titles.
That was a really, really strong league. There was a lot of good players in it. Terry was in it. The McKeel brothers played. Billy Parker played in it. Randy Kroll from Truro. Greg Patton. Mike Henderson. These guys were all star players in the Junior A Hockey League when they played. We won that league 2 years in a row, and the finals both years went 7 games. So it was very competitive, and a lot of really, really good players played in that league.
When I got named head coach by Wayne Weber and Don McNeil, my first job was to get an assistant coach, and there was nobody else that I even was thinking about other than Terry Anthony. The respect he had around the community, the respect he had with players, he was my only choice that I wanted him as the assistant coach. And I think he ended up staying with 3 years, and we were basically co-coaches. That year was phenomenal with the fans, especially as the season grew. But in the playoffs that year, that was in 1985, and you can imagine the old barn there, which I think that Game 7 against Cole Harbour was 1,643 fans in that place that holds 200. I can remember when we were in Antigonish, and then all of a sudden I heard this beating and smashing outside an hour and a half before the game, and we ran into the dressing room. There was 500 fans there from East Hants stomping their feet.
I was playing host league in Melford, and Terry talked me in to come play for Shubby. We started playing midget ball, then we went to juvenile team together, and then in 1980, Shubby put a senior team in it in 1980, and Terry was our catcher, and he was our best player.
The Shubenacadie Lions put a team in the senior league. I believe Terry was 18 that year, and he was catching for the team, and obviously drew our attention very soon as a ball player, even at that young age.
That year, Brookfield picked him up. He was a rookie. We were both rookies that year in the league, and he had an outstanding provincials that year, and he hit really well, and he was one of the top players in the league.
Well, Terry is a strong guy and had some power, but he is also relatively quick. Now, I'm talking his younger days, mind you, but and he was versatile. Part of the reason we added him in 1980 to go to the national championships was that we thought he could help us at 3 positions, at least 3 positions: catcher, first base, third base, and in the outfield. We had a very talented and deep team. We weren't looking for someone to come in and be a starter per se, but we liked the fact that he provided insurance at a number of positions. My older brother Terry, who was head coach of the team, thought I was crazy when I mentioned Terry because he was in his first year of senior ball, and like I said, 18. But he was a little older than his years in ball knowledge, and the ability was definitely there. Had to be somebody who would fit in. That was almost guaranteed by his youth and expectations, and we made it clear to him going in that he would be a multi-role player for us, but not the guy who we expected to carry the load.
Here we are back at Gordon Howe Park and getting ready for the first pitch of this championship game for the Canadian Senior Men's Softball Championship of 1980. A home team crowd for Saskatchewan behind them.
Saskatchewan's tired, but I think that added some momentum to them playing before the home crowd and winning this game now. But I think we're going to have a great contest, and we've got 2 great teams here.
Well, it certainly was a thrill for us to be there, and it was our 4th year in a row, and we'd won silver and bronze medals previously. There was a real sense of unfinished business. Despite us being underdogs, we were singularly focused. Terry was there with big eyes, and I remember a crucial play he made playing right field of all places, which wasn't a normal position for him, backing up an overthrown ball that saved us from giving up a run. And he just fit in wherever Coach Terry Henderson needed him. It was a great time, and I know he's very proud of wearing that gold medal ring.
Saskatchewan trying to stay alive here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitching for Nova Scotia, in relief, Steve Healy. And here comes the pitch. Strike 3, struck him out. And Nova Scotia, the Brookfield Elks, have won the 1980 Canadian Senior Men's Softball Championship. And they have a right to be a happy lot, Bob.
Well, they've just played Super Bowl all week. You can see how happy they are right now. And it's been a real team effort. We singled out a few players like Henderson and Putnam, but Healy came in here, for example, did a great job for them. So, as I said, it's a team effort for them. Great champions.
Because our Brookfield Elks 1980 championship team became the host team for the 1981 World Games trip for the Canadian national team, we hosted the selection camp in Brookfield. It was a great camp. From Quebec City, there was Pierre Gosselin and Serge Bourque, catcher and first baseman, both had national team experience. Ron Gustafson, Marty Kernigan, outfielders from out west. Ronnie Boland, the fine Newfoundland pitcher. And eventually Rob Ginter and Gene McWillie, the 2 Saskatchewan horses of all time. Terry more than held his own at that camp. Was not eventually selected to the team, but it sort of, I think, was a light going off for him to let him know how good he could potentially be.
In 1985, when we won the Provincials and beat the Brookfield Elks, it was an amazing time for us because we grew up watching those guys, and they were the best team in the league. And Terry caught that year, and he played some third base, he could play first base, he could play the outfield. He was a really good hitter, and we had a really good team that year. A lot of guys we brought in from outside of the community, like Dale Ryan was one of the top pitchers in Canada, and he pitched really good that year. And we had Dave Hunt from Truro with us. Peter Ashley pitched for us from Lance, and it was really exciting to finally beat the Brookfield Elks. Well, Terry definitely helped us because he had been to the Nationals with Brookfield and been to the national tryouts. So he had an experience in it, and it was all new to me, and to many of us had never been there. So it was an exciting time, and Terry, he could kind of guide us as to what to expect, and he knew who players were at the Nationals from other teams. He could talk to you about them, where some of us had never seen it before.
One thing I really give Terry credit for is, and part of this is probably growing up in the household he did, where his father, Carl, a Hall of Famer, built and developed teams and facilities and stuff like that. And that didn't go unnoticed by Terry. He didn't just he put back in.
Yeah, I remember him still coaching the senior team and then coaching us in Shuby minor ball, him and Mom, honestly. I can't say enough about it. You know, Mom's been there every step of the way. She taught us a lot about, mechanics on how to throw a ball and things like that too. Like, she knew what she was doing, right? Like, so I'll never forget about, us going out to the ball field and Dad dragging the field while Mom mowed the outfield, and we'd be running around playing. And I don't think without them, Shuby minor ball would have survived, honestly. Obviously a lot of other people had some help in that, but it's a place that's near and dear to my heart for sure.
As his career wound down, he got heavily involved in coaching, and give him a lot of credit for that. He did a fantastic job developing some young kids here in East Hants. He took an under-18 team to the gold medal game in that championship in Fredericton, with basically all East Hants guys and a couple of Colchester guys sprinkled in.
It was really, really unique, and I think why he and I both think it's so special is because it was all local kids. We didn't pick up anybody from out west. It was all guys from East Hants, and I think we had one kid from Truro, East Hants, Brookfield, and it was kids that grew up playing together their whole lives. And, I haven't seen my dad get emotional too much in my life, and after that tournament was, You could just see it. Like it was pretty special. You know, with the whole community behind us. A lot of people made the trip up as the week went on. Saw a lot of different faces. You know, see Jamie Wentworth, Jeff Frazier, all the time. You know, all the ball guys around here making their trips up, and it was pretty cool. And I think if you asked him, that's probably his favorite time as a coach.
He really gave back to the game that had given him so much. We're all so fortunate to be able to play, and I really appreciate it, I guess, when people will give their time back to it after their playing days are done. So that was, you know, that said a lot to me.
Yeah, the proof's in the pudding. I think they did a really good job with not only Crown Ball and Shuby, but East Hants in general, and keeping it alive through a time when it was going through a downswing. And yeah, I can't say enough about them, how much I appreciate it, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of other guys do too, especially once we got a little older. Looking back, you know, what are we talking, 50 years of softball that probably would never have existed without Dad and Papa, so it's pretty impressive.
Hi, Terry. So happy to be able to contribute to your East Hants Sports Hall of Fame induction. It is very richly deserved. I know how proud you must be to join your father, late father, and your brother in the Hall of Fame. And it's a great joy to me and many of your friends to see you win. And you certainly deserve it. Thanks, Terry.
Well, finally happened. Congrats, Big T, on the induction into the Hall of Fame, and well deserved. I don't say it very often, but I'm proud of you and I love you.
2024 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, Terry Anthony.